Hi and welcome. Here we are at day 4. Hope you're having a great week so far, and I hope you're getting lots of help and value out of the videos we've done so far. So, carrying on from yesterday, where we looked at kind of creating some sort of vision and the business map, and kind of a little bit about choosing the mediums we're going to use. Next, we're going to be on to what it takes to actually create these products and services, and also what else you need to be able to price them and position them, and so on. So the first thing we're going to do, remember we went back to day 1 where we talked about, your story and who you help the most. So this is really going to be more about your audience than it is you. So a lot of us quite often make the mistake where we're really excited about what we do, and we create something that we think other people are going to love because we love it. The problem with approaching it that way is, and I always kind of use the belt analogy for this, you've got to think you're a bit of a black belt in the thing that you do, and they're somewhere down there. So if you go at creating something at that level, and you're hoping that somebody can understand you, it's going to be a little bit tricky. So we have to really kind of chunk it down, which is why I said to you, go from the top down to look at what we really want to create and produce, and then we can bring it back down. So if you did the steps from yesterday and you created some of the ideas, we want to take the easiest one that it will take you to get going. Now, if you've already got a business and you already have some of these things in play, that's great. If you're just starting off, pick the one that is going to take you the least time and effort, and that you can get going on straight away. Don't pick the thing. So I'll give you a quick example of that. If you're somebody like a coach, say a consultant, a mentor, a trainer, somebody like that, don't think, oh, I know, I will build a digital program and I'll get that out and then I'll add on some coaching and so on. The problem being, it's going to take you quite a long time to think those things through and produce it and create it and so on and so forth. The other problem with that is, again, it's reversed engineered because we haven't actually tried it out on the people. So the best way to do with something like that is either go one-on-one and get yourself 3, 4, 5 people and work them through that whole process. Or if you are confident enough and sort of happy to do it, or get a group of up to 6 people and push them through that same curriculum. And then what you'll be able to do is get feedback all the way through it, and then you'll be able to make sure that every little step, the people have understood, it's been in the right order, and you've thought it through. Because oftentimes when you do those things with people in real life, sometimes steps get swapped over, or things get added, or things get pulled away and kept for a later date. So don't feel that. I always like to call this like a bit of an experiment, but it's not in a bad way, because people sometimes feel like, oh, I don't really be experimenting on people, but you're not, in the sense of, as long as you are an expert in what you do and you're doing it with integrity, what you're doing is just refining the process. It's not a case of, oh, I'm making this up from scratch and I'm just going to do anything. If that's the case, I don't believe you'd be a conscious entrepreneur, and I feel you'd be in a different kind of camp. In this camp, everybody's very, very bothered about their audience, about people, about the planet, about animals, about making a difference. So I worry less about that. So let's take something like the one-on-one. So somebody might go, okay, then, well, if I'm just going to do one-on-one, why do I need to go through all this curriculum thing? Well, what you want to do, even if it's on a piece of paper, and I've literally done this myself on a piece of paper, thought to myself, okay, so what do I want to teach people? What I want to take them through? And I've jotted down the steps, and then I've gone ahead and taught it. And I've done that because, again, as I just said, you want to make sure that the steps are in the right order, they're understandable, and they're relatable. And then once you've got that in context, and you've got that preferably recorded as well, if you want to use it for future reference, you can then create a workbook, or you can create audios or videos or whatever you want, because you have that process down. Now, I appreciate sometimes on one-to-one sessions we will all say this, well, it's really bespoke, it's down to the person that I'm dealing with, and for sure that's correct. However, there will be some, and I call these threads, there will be some overlapping threads of things like questions that you ask, things that are really important to you. So these are the things that we want to start to look at in terms of strategy, structure, and systems. So the strategy, when we come to the curriculum, is writing down your steps. Okay. The structure is how we are going to deliver those steps. So are we going to deliver them in the beginning, one-on-one, or in a group? Are we at the point where actually, no, I've done all that, so I'm now ready to create video? Or am I at the point where actually I want to deliver this as a personal 2 or 3 day event? So we need to work out what the medium is, because the medium's going to dictate to us what we need to have ready. In most cases, and I'm just going to do this as a little bit of a generalization just to sort of speed this video up, else we could be here for hours. But in generalization, I would look at something like, okay, so does it require some video training? 9 times out of 10, that's a good safe bet. People like video, and it's something they can refer to and they can relate to. Also, there's lots of people like audio. So a lot of times when you have a video created, they can rip an audio file from it, and then you can have an audio to go with it. Often people like a PDF or a workbook, a worksheet, a checklist, something to look at and follow the steps. Because if you're watching a video, sometimes you can be taking notes, but you might forget to do something. That's why, if you notice at the end of every single video, I've said if you want a worksheet or if you want something, because some people will just be writing down the steps and they'll just do them, and that's absolutely fine. Other people will want to see something visually to make sure they've gone through the steps. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning all these different things is because you've got audio, visual, and kinesthetic, and everybody learns differently. So most courses, you'll come across them having some sort of video, some sort of audio, and something readable. And that covers all bases for your audience. You will also get the fact that for most things that people say, well, watch the videos and then work along with the workbooks. And then some people will then choose to have the audio as almost supplementary, something that they can drive around or walk around and listen to, just to kind of get the information in. So we want to look at I'm going to go sort of into a process in a second, but I just want to kind of finish this point. So once we've worked out the medium and once we've worked out what kind of assets we need, we often call these digital assets, because if they're going to be stored online, then they're called digital assets. If you're starting off, I would highly recommend, don't get into this idea that I have to have ClickFunnels, I have to have Thinkific or whatever. You don't have to have anything. A super cheap, easy way of doing this, if you're brand new, is you can set up something like this, a Facebook group. If people have paid you to be in a group, then you put those members into a secret private group, and you can upload live video into it. You can also upload documents into it, and you can also interact with people. And there's ways in the little tabs you can actually organise the material, week 1, week 2, and so on and so forth. So you can actually do that for free. And the reason why I want to mention that is because something that I noticed quite a few years ago was something that would stop entrepreneurs, a procrastination thing almost, was like, oh, okay, so if I'm creating this, I have to have this, and this. Okay, so now I'll go over to this tool, this platform. Oh, okay. And now I have to have this, and this. And then before you know it, they've given themselves a list of 25 different things to do, which is probably going to take them up to a year to create, and then the thing never gets done. Remember the phrase, entrepreneurs tend to build the plane as they fly. And the reason we have that is because true entrepreneurs don't wait. They don't wait for things. I could give you a list right now of things that we need to tweak that aren't right in aesthetically or whatever in what we're doing. But it doesn't matter I mean, it does matter. You want to obviously have it perfect and great, and so it does matter. But what I mean is, it doesn't matter in the sense of as long as you are delivering value and serving your customers and you're helping them, that's what counts and that's what matters. And particularly, I'm going to say, in the case of mission-driven entrepreneurs, where you're out there trying to help people, think of it this way: for every day that I delay getting my message out there, talking to new people, I'm letting down people that could be helped by what I have to offer, because I'm sitting there worrying about the typeface, about the workbook, about whether my videos look professional or not. So remember, most things come in time. And one example I like to use over and over again, just purely because most people have heard of him, is Gary Vaynerchuk. And I use him as an example because, you know, to be fairness to the guy, he really couldn't care less what he looks like, for one, which is fine. And secondly, he doesn't care if he does the video on his phone, if he's got a camera crew or whatever. He's more bothered about the service and just getting it done. So I would take a leaf out of his book and think about quantity of content. Not, and I'm not going to say over quality. I'm not saying that we want to just put any old thing out. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that every day, if he thinks of something that is like, oh, that's really going to help people, or that's an insight, or oh, I just had a conversation with this person over there, and actually 5 or 10 people have asked me the same thing, so I'll just shoot a quick video. Do it. You know, that's the way that you can grow in confidence for doing videos, but it's also a way that you are just instantly serving people. And I also feel like, particularly in the time where we can have every variation of a phone video, right the way to people who've got nicely done studios and they've got sound and lighting and this, that, and the other. We've got every eventuality, but nothing is more important than the content. So, or like this, we can have alarms going off in the middle of a video, but it's fine, because what I was just about to say, and synchronistically, I didn't plan that, but synchronistically, what I was going to say is actually people like that because it's more relatable. So I remember in the early days of all this kind of digital stuff, well before people got Zoom fatigue and stuff, and people would shoot videos and they were trying to be professional, especially if you work from home. And I remember seeing this video of this guy, and he was on some TV interview, and because he was like thinking it was professional and I'm on TV, he was on a news channel or something. One of his kids came running in, and rather than going, "Oh, hi, this is whoever is 2," and sticking him on his knee, or going, "Oh, you know, whatever," he was doing this. He was trying to push his child out of the way, and then a nanny came through the door and kind of pulled the child out. And I remember thinking, that's a real shame. That's something that we don't want to see. That we don't want to see you pushing your child out the way just so that I can look professional. We actually want to see somebody go, "Oh shit, you know, my kid's coming, or my dog, or whatever, or the doorbell's going, or whatever's going on," because that makes people relatable, because we are all human, and particularly entrepreneurial speaking, we all have the same kind of issues. It's just that they turn up in a different way for each of us. And we all have our own speciality. And that's why when I'm always talking about the dojo team, the team, I do that on purpose, because what I see out there a lot of the time, especially from a marketing perspective, is one person kind of pitching what they do and saying to people, "You've got to do this. This is the only way forward, and it's my way or the highway." The problem with that is every single person's unique. And the other problem with that is we all get on with different people and we all learn differently. So we've made sure that we've really kind of created a team that is so diverse on many, many different levels, so that some things, when I'm speaking to people strategically, I'll have a conversation with somebody else who's coaching or doing wellness or whatever, and they come out with something totally different that I didn't know about the person. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know that. They kind of didn't tell me, or it just went past me. But the thing is, it's brilliant because it means that there's no blind spots and we get to see everything. And the reason why that's important for us, and I know I'm kind of going off a little bit here, but is because you are an individual. And we like to treat everybody as a holistic individual and a person first, which is why you often see us put things like from the inside out. And the reason is everybody online looks from the outside in when it comes to business and marketing and sales. So they'll say, get this funnel, get your website optimized, have this, have that, have the other, which is awesome. And you do need those things. However, we find time and time and time again, depending on where the person is inside themselves, what energy they're at, what vibration and frequency they're at, what kind of things need to be done internally to help them. So, for example, this is called Conscious Business Six Figures and Beyond. Let's say you're on 50K and you want to get to 100K, or you're on 100K and you want to get to 250K, or you're on 250 and you want to get to 500,000, or you're on 500,000 and you want to get to 1,000,000. The number doesn't matter. What matters is you reach a certain point and you go doink, doink, doink. You're hitting your head on a glass ceiling. So in yang terms, we apply more pressure. We go, I've got to push harder, I've got to fight harder, I've got to do more, I've got to be more smarter, I've got to come up with a better strategy. Sometimes, yes, sometimes, as I said, strategy, structure, and systems can help you compound and then exponentially grow. 100%. However, if internally you have got some limiting beliefs, or you've got old trauma, or you've got something trapped emotionally, or anything of that kind of nature that's subconsciously fighting against it by saying things like, I don't know whether I'm good enough, I don't know whether I can do this, everybody told me I couldn't do this, or whatever it may be. And I don't mean you have to have any one of those, it could be 1,000 different things. But what you won't understand is that it will have such a major impact on you. So I've spent many years in all the different areas and departments, and that was my research and development. And that's why we came to this conclusion. Okay, we have to have a cake and eat it. We need, and one of the analogies we do, so apologies to anybody that can't stand sci-fi, Star Wars, Star Trek, sorry, we're going to use this analogy. We often talk about, like in Star Trek, we talk about like a great big mothership and how the ships fly in, and then they've got different departments. They've got your medical department, your science lab, your engineering, they've got catering, they've got, social, they've got the flight deck, they've got all the different navigation systems, they've got weapons, etc., etc., etc. Inside every one of those departments is a team, bunch of specialists who that's their passion, that's their knowledge, that's like the equivalent of a PhD in that particular topic because they can't get enough of it. They love it. Okay. As an entrepreneur, there's no way you can match a mothership of all these PhD level people, because that would take you many lifetimes. What you want to be able to do as the entrepreneur is go into each of those different departments and pull what is really, really good for you and what will help you, and work with those teams collectively as your team, so that you can constantly be having those aha moments where you're like, oh, right, yeah, I get that now. Okay, right, how do I do this bit? Because this is why we pay for mentors. This is why we buy information products. This is why we have coaches, or we have programs or services or books or courses or events. This is why we're doing it, because we're going to that person or them people or that company and saying, I really would love to learn that, but I actually don't have a spare 10 years. So could you give me the bulleted points, the sort of the stuff that I need to know? And that is why, again, if you think about most companies, it's the same thing. They have departments of specialists in. Now, as the entrepreneur, you're going to have to start off with the CEO hat and go, okay, so I'm the CEO. I can't be expected to necessarily be the expert in all these departments, but I understand to begin with, I'm going to have to wear the hat. So I'm going to have to be the finance person. I'm going to have to be the marketing person. I'm going to have to be the salesperson. I'm going to have to do create all the content. I'm going to have to deliver the content. I'm going to have to look after my clients and so on and so forth. But very, very quickly, you want to start learning, okay, so what would be the first and best thing to delegate and create another person on my team? What is something that I have that I can automate and create into a system so I don't have to manually do it. Okay, this is why this piece of building out is so important that we did yesterday when we looked at the business map and the vision and kind of all the different mediums that you can use. So today, when we're looking at the curriculum, we want to go, okay, so we're picking first one thing. And as I said, pick the thing that's the most easiest. Now I'm going to take this on the proviso that you are going to look at either doing one-on-one or group, or if you've already got a book ready that you can create it into a digital product, or you can offer some services on the back of it. And if you've got a physical product and you've got multiple products, that's obviously even quicker and faster. You're going to want to look at, okay, what does my store look like? And we go back to day 2 and we talked about branding. We want to look at how we do that and what kind of social we're going to build up around that store to create a life force of it, what kind of hashtags and so on. I'm going a bit more into tomorrow's because that's the sort of sharing side of it. But the point I'm making is I hope you can see how all these little pieces are so important in the jigsaw. So today we want to really look at that kind of part of how we're going to create the thing. Now with pricing and positioning, what we mean by that is the price point comes from the positioning, and the positioning comes from the business map as to what level or stage it's at. So let's go back to the book analogy of the other day. If I have a book, which I happen to have here. So this is my book from quite a few years ago. So if I was starting with this book and I wanted to do level 1 my book, I could offer that as a physical book. I could also offer it as a Kindle book. So what I might want to do is go, okay, so this, what was this priced at? $17.99 in US dollars. Okay, so I could have a strategy that sends people to Amazon, for example, or I might want to have my own funnel that brings that to me, and I might package my book up and offer people 3 different services. Do you want the book? Do you want the book and the digital and a workbook? Do you want that package plus coaching on the book? 3 simple offers. You also would offer something like a free chapter or something to get people into the funnel, to give them your email address to get the free chapter, and then you would offer them what they want, the choice of. Okay, so that would be variant of that. Now let's say I offered this coaching thing. Then how am I offering this coaching? Is it going to be one-on-one? Is it going to be group? That is going to really affect my price points. Typically speaking, most digital based programs that are comprehensive, so I mean I'm talking a really chunky program here, operate around the $2,000 mark. Some are cheaper, so if the person's just starting out or they want to offer like an early bird offer, a special offer, or whatever, so some people might mark it down to have a 297. It doesn't really matter. It depends on who your audience is and what you're selling them. If I was I'm going to pick something I would never ever do. So let's say that I can't knit, but let's pretend I had a knitting course. My target audience for people who want to learn to knit might be, I might niche it, I don't know, women over 60 who want to take up knitting. I might want to create a nice little tiny 6-week course with some videos and some step-by-step things, and I might want to sell that at $97. Because my audience might not be of the it's not a business thing, it's not a fitness thing, it's not a money thing, it's just a little hobby. But what I might have on the back of that is I might have a membership site, or I might have my own, what do you call them, needles, whatever. I might have my own shop where I sell things to do with knitting. I mean, I just use that randomly because I wanted to share something, I won't say ridiculous, but something just random, because I want to just demonstrate quickly and easily how easy it is to kind of come up with a strategy. But we price according to our market. Now, I've seen many things. Let's take fitness. Fitness is a really good one. Some people would say, obviously, you don't need anything for weight loss and fitness. You can just put yourself on a diet or a healthy eating plan. You can get yourself to the gym or to some classes or whatever you want to do. You do not need to spend 1 penny. You don't. Okay. However, there is also courses, coaches, mentors, one-on-one people out there that can charge up to tens of thousands of dollars. The difference is results. The difference is who's delivering them results and how they can guarantee those results. So for example, I know a guy once who his target market was busy executive men that worked away a lot, and he was sort of health and well-being and fitness. Okay, so he knew his guys were flying around, busy, but it was really annoying them that because of a lot of hotel eating and traveling, they couldn't take care of their health. So they would pay him like a $10,000 fee to look after the health, because what he would do with them, he would work with them over like a 6-month block, and he would obviously put them on a very specific plan for all these different things to get them a specific result. So he was holding them accountable, he was working with them through their flying around and when they were home. But it was very tailored, very bespoke and very specific. And because he came from a military background, he had that how can you put it, in the branding, he had that persona to say, you know, if you're going to work with me, I'm going to get you some results because I'm going to kick your butt. End of. So if you didn't want the results, you're not going to pay out that kind of money for that level, you see. And equally, we could all go on Amazon right this second and get a book for $10 or for $0 off Kindle that's like, I don't know, lose £10 in 10 weeks by following these action steps. And that could be $10. But the point I'm getting to, which is why we've been stacking these by the week, and we'll be stacking one on top of the other, is it's knowing your story, knowing what your mission and message is, knowing your audience and knowing how they want to be served, and then knowing how to position and price your products and services to them. And some audiences do not value free, budget, early bird, I've slashed it down, and all this kind of stacking thing where you often see on webinars where they go, we're going to throw in this and that and the other and the kitchen sink and a castle and la da 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 da, and it's worth $100,000. But today, until this countdown clock goes, we're going to give it you for $2,500. Some people don't respond to that. They don't respect it. I personally don't respect it. And some people do. Some people go, yay, I've got a bargain. Awesome. So this is my point. It depends on who your audience is. Play to your audience. And that doesn't mean inflate your price to see what you can get away with your audience. That doesn't mean that at all. It means what value and service are you bringing to your audience? How do they want it delivered? How much personal time is it to you? And how can we price it and position it? We're really good at doing that with you. So if you're stuck on any of those things, please do give us a shout. This is something I've been doing all day long for many, many years. I can usually just do that in a heartbeat. So just to kind of clarify and wrap up for today. So I'm trying to get really good at this 30-minute thing. I'm at 28 minutes. So I'm doing better. So we want to map out the curriculum. Think about all the different things you want to teach. Now, also, this is a really important point. Often when I've done this with people, like creating a course or a program, and they go, oh, is it 6 weeks? Is it 8 weeks? Is it this many? Is it 4 weeks or whatever? Then they start filling in a chart. We have a really good chart to fill this in. And then they send it to me and they go, oh, have a look at this. What do you think? And I'm reading it. I'm going, oh my God. A, you're never going to deliver all of that content in that amount of time. 2, you're going to overload them, therefore overwhelm them. Therefore, 3, they're not going to get a result or the achievement they would like at the end of it because of the overload and overwhelm. So therefore, 4, when you've over-delivered and over-serviced, they are not going to continue to work with you because they're going to be going, oh my God, I've still got all this other stuff to go through. How on earth am I going to take any more from you? So again, this isn't about being tight or being like, well, I'm only going to give you this much for that price because I want you to pay me more for the other. No. But it's about looking at going, okay, so if I have 4, 6, 8, 12, whatever I've got with somebody, what can I make sure that they really hit the ground running and can learn and can integrate and embody and go out there and have a result with. Because when you help somebody do that, they are going to be happy, they're going to be wanting to give you a good testimonial, and they're going to want to carry on working with you because you've helped them create some sort of success in whatever it is that they're doing. And remember this point, and I always want to drive this point in. Remember, none of us, especially on screen, are going round to people with a gun at the head going, you've got to buy my program, or you've got to work with me. And now this bit's finished, you absolutely have to stay with me. You must work with me for the rest of your life. Nobody has to do anything. We do it because we want to. The best clients are the ones where you're not even offering them anything and they're saying to you, how can I keep on going with this? Because, you know, that's always the best compliment when people are saying to you, oh, this is for next year's work, or I want to keep going with this for as long as I can because I can see here I'm on the right path and I'm on the right train and I get it and I've got good momentum going. So why would I want to drop that momentum? And this isn't a pitch in the service industry. It is just an actual fact, and I've got lots of experience of this. Do things solo, get so far. Have a team, get further. Do things solo, get so far. Have a team, get further. Have a mentor, get further still. Really get systems and strategies into place. Oh, shock horror, create more. It's something intrinsic to our biology that we are just naturally, let's kind of say, social animals. And one of my first early on things in a dojo, and I've gone over by 1.5 minutes, but I'm just going to quickly get this story in, is when I got into competing, I wasn't having actually any thoughts about competing. It wasn't really anything in my head. It was my instructor that said to me, oh, I want to start putting you in this whatever team to compete. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a whirl. And then before I knew it, I was like, oh yeah, I really think you could get the British champion title in this. This was in kickboxing. I did lots of different styles of, you know, mixed martial arts and lots of different multiple martial arts. I've got 3 black belts and I'm a master instructor. Anyhow, I didn't really think of anything of it. So I got pushed into this kickboxing. So before I knew it, I mean, I was already doing kickboxing. I just made day one, but I just mean I was already doing it. And then I started to get to work with different coaches. Then I started to work with the team. And then the team started to have strategies. And then I started to go into tournaments. And then I started working with other people. And then I started jumping on planes and going to other countries. And before I knew it, I was in different classes, having different experiences, different masters, different grandmasters, different countries, different cultures, different types of competing. And before I knew it, there's probably a picture around somewhere, I'd amassed all these cups, trophies, belts, medals. And I was like, interesting. On my own, I wouldn't have had any of it because A, the thought didn't even occur to me. B, I wouldn't have known how to train, how to do all that sort of stuff. And 3, people believed in me and people pushed me. And people, and most of us that have been in martial arts know this, we often hate our instructors. We often hate them. Can't stand the people. And I've often learned as a head of a dojo to be okay with that. So sometimes I don't mind if clients go, God, I really don't like you. I don't mind it because it's growth, it's pushing. And that's one thing in the Bushido Entrepreneur that we like to do. That's why it's the Bushido Entrepreneur Challenge. It's not about making you uncomfortable. It's not about making you wrong. It's not about doing anything bad to you. It's about seeing your potential and helping that really blossom out of you. Because 9 times out of 10, we won't do that on our own. It's just the way it is. Now, obviously, I've had times in between all those things where I have gone off and kept my own training going or turned up to a tournament or whatever. But surprise, surprise, my results dropped. When I created my first big school, what a surprise. It was at the same time I was having the biggest mentoring team I'd ever had in my life, and I'd paid the most for it as well. What a surprise, exponential growth. Because these people kicked my butt and these people were on me. I was held accountable, and I had the constant words to me every week were, how's that working for you, Annette? Because I'm very good at giving it this of, oh, well, you know, la, 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 la. I'm very good at being busy. I'm super busy, me. So I had to learn the hard way in terms of discipline in how to become productive. We have a thing called consciously Kaizen about productivity, and if you come to work with us, you'll get to do that. So I had to get really laser focused, and I had to get out of my own way. And this is again going back to the inner work. It's all in your head. Things are trapped in your body emotionally, and all the rest of it's going on in your head, and you're in your way most of the time. So all these pieces that we're doing today are essential. As I said, the conscious business core essentials, and they need to be done. But underneath all that is you. You are the representation of the business, the brand, the mission, the message. It's all you. So it stands to reason that we want to pour as much into ourselves as possible. And I really don't like the cliched personal development thing, get the best version of you, but it's kind of true. It's kind of cliched, but it's kind of true. You want your self actualization. You want to have a life that by the end of it, you go, do you know what? I nailed that. I went after everything and I kicked its butt. I went after it, and no matter how many times I got knocked down, I got back up again. I might have course correct, I might have changed directions. I might have thought I wanted a business in this, but I ended up with a business in that. I thought this was my passion, but actually I really I found I've evolved into something else. And this is why I go back to your story, because for some of us, your thing that you started off on day one might still be your mission today. For other people, it might be what you had on day 2 or day 3. For some people, it might be day 10, meaning, and that could be 10 years. I don't mean it has to be in days, but you get the gist. So I hope that kind of makes some sense today. Let's write down some of the aspects of the key parts of your curriculum. Let's have a look at where they're going to be priced and positioned in your business map to your audience. And let's have a look at what other kind of offerings and products and services there are. As always, if you need any help with any of this, if you want any of our worksheets or anything, let's do a GIF of an elephant today. I'm going to pick an elephant. So we've had a cat and a dog and a fish. Now we've got an elephant. So let's pop one of those in. I would love to hear from any of you. I know everyone's been a bit quiet at the moment, which is fine. But sometimes no growth without a little bit of kind of coming out your shell. So if anybody's got any comments, if anybody's confused on anything that I've said, if anybody wants any help and support, one of us would be happy to jump on a call with you and help you out. So you can always send us a private DM message, or you can email us challenge@thequantumdojo.com if you are interested in finding out a little bit more about the Bushido Challenge and how that can help you exponentially grow in yourself and in your business within 90 days. So I'll leave that with you today. Have a wonderful rest of day, night, morning, evening, whenever you're watching this. And I'll be back tomorrow for day 5. We're really going to start talking more about how we share all of the things that we've talked about so far. Have a wonderful rest of day. Take care. Bye-bye.